All right, so here's how this whole circus started. Picture this Saturday morning early, the kind of quiet where even the birds are lazy and the world feels like it belongs to you for a couple hours. I got my coffee, riding shotgun in an old dented thermos, some country song mumbling through the static, and I'm just cruising down Route 41, head half full of a to-do list, half empty of anything that actually matters. You know, the drill pick up some generator parts, maybe a box of .308 for deer season, probably wind up buying a wrench I don't need, just so the guy at the hardware store has something to talk about. Where I live, about 12 miles past where cell service ends and common sense is just a rumor. Saturdays are sacred. You get your errands done early, wave at the same 3 trucks you've seen since before Facebook, and try to make it home before the wind turns the whole road into a dust tornado. I left my place in good hands, though. 3 buddies from the old days staying over for the weekend, guys I trust, guys who'd carried more sand and grit in their boots than most people see in a lifetime. Cole's upstairs, probably playing with his GoPro like he's Spielberg. Mason is doing his weird zen and the art of rifle cleaning thing at the kitchen table, and Ray's got the patience of a rock and the poker face to match, just sipping coffee, watching the world slide by. Then, bam! My phone lights up, not with a text, not a call, but a perimeter alert, front gate breech lock disengaged. I swear the temperature in my truck dropped 20 degrees. I pull up the camera feed, nothing but static at first. Then this grainy shot from the side camera. 3 figures just waltzing through my snapped padlock like they're headed for a picnic. 2 guys in khakis, 1 lady in a polo with Silver Ridge Community Alliance stitched over the heart. And I know that logo. I know that woman. Vanessa Pike, HOA president with the kind of smile you only learn from years of pretending to care at fundraisers. My jaw locks up tight. I spin that truck around so fast I'm pretty sure the gravel's still settling back there. Here's the kicker, I'm not part of Silver Ridge. Never have been. My land's been there longer than their HOA vision statements notarized and county registered, surveyed twice just for fun. They once tried to fine me for aesthetic non-compliance because my mailbox wasn't beige. I mailed them back a copy of my deed and a friendly suggestion to mind their own fence lines. I guess Vanessa never let that one go. I radio the house on our private channel. Cole's voice is way too calm. We got company? How many, I ask? 3. Polo squad, Queen Bee included. You armed? He doesn't even bother answering Mason's voice in the background. Always. I tell him don't engage unless they cross the threshold. Call the sheriff. Keep the cameras rolling. By the time I'm within a mile of my driveway, it's already a scene. Vanessa marches up to the porch, tablet in hand, loud enough for the cameras. We are conducting an emergency compliance inspection under Section 8.3 of the Silver Ridge Charter. On property she has 0 jurisdiction over. Cole locks the front door. Mason covers the back. Ray, still just sipping his coffee, watching the drama. Vanessa doesn't knock. She rattles the back door. Mason cracks it just enough. She freezes. He's 6'4", built like a barn, holding a rifle, relaxed but real obvious. Ma'am, he says, cool as anything, this is private property. You cut a lock to get here. Step back. One of her sidekicks starts shouting about weapons and assault. Upstairs, Cole yells out, sheriff's already on the way. Guess what I told him? Trespass. Forced entry. Vanessa's mask slips just a little. We have authority, she hisses, complaints about hazardous materials, unapproved fortifications. Ray, still zen, steps up. You don't have authority here. Not legally, not morally, not geographically. And then the tall guy makes his big mistake, shoves Mason's arm. It happens fast. Wrist twist, pivot guy's face down on the porch before he knows what hit him. Zip ties, Vanessa shrieks. You can't detain him. This is illegal. Ray just flashes his contractor. ID citizen's arrest. You entered unlawfully. It's all on tape. 10 minutes later, sheriff's cruisers are bouncing up my drive, red and blue, flickering against the oaks. I pull in behind them. Sheriff Donnelly steps out, late 50s eyes that say he's seen every petty drama this county's ever cooked up. What am I walking into, he says. I shrug. A constitutional misunderstanding. Vanessa tries to spin it. They felt unsafe. They had community authority. We were aggressive. Donnelly listens, waits, then asks, "Did you have a warrant? Did you have permission?" Silence both times. Dispatch confirms my parcel's never been under Silver Ridge HOA. Vanessa's shoulders drop. I can see in her eyes this isn't over. People like her don't back down. They double down. Sure enough, 2 days later, certified letter. Summoned to their compliance committee. Violations, surveillance equipment perimeter, fortifications, improper storage of hazardous materials, photos of my property taken from outside my fence, my chimney circled and labeled unknown device. That's when it stopped being silly. It got personal. Vanessa wasn't upholding standards. She was on a power trip expanding territory one fake infraction at a time. So I call my lawyer, I call the county recorder. And then I start digging, because if she thinks cutting a lock is bold, she hasn't seen anything yet. All right, let's freeze the frame a sec. Break the fourth wall. Here's what most folks don't get. An HOA's power is only as real as the documents that give it. If your deed doesn't tie you to their covenants, conditions, and restrictions, those CC and Rs, they're just decorative. They don't get to act like the Gestapo. No police powers, no inspections, and sure as hell no cutting locks. Vanessa didn't overstep. She trespassed. That's not just civil, that's criminal. A warning letter is paperwork, breaking and entering. That's prosecutable. But there's a bigger game going on, and it's in the mind. See, these folks start small, send a fine, repaint a fence, nobody argues, and that lack of pushback. They take it as a green light. Suddenly the line between what's legal and what I can get away with gets blurry. Powers like that, once you taste it losing, it feels like dying. So I drop the emotions and start building a case. Monday morning, I file a complaint with County Land Records. Certified copies of everything: deed, zoning, affidavits, survey maps. A paper trail you could eat off of. I asked for an investigation into unlawful entry and harassment. But something about Vanessa's playbook doesn't sit right. She was too prepared: photos, talking points, printed packets with timestamps from weeks back. This wasn't her first rodeo. I start making calls. Walter up the ridge says he got similar letters last year. Threats of liens, fines, nailed to a tree, no signatures, just deadlines. Claire, another neighbor, says Vanessa came with 2 board members, implied that not joining the HOA would make future infrastructure complicated. That's intimidation, pure and simple. Then comes the twist. One of the complaints filed against me, supposedly the trigger for the emergency inspection, was signed by a neighbor who'd been dead for 3 years. I checked with her niece. Funeral records, obituary, the works. That's when I stopped playing defense. I compile it all: witness statements, death records, fake complaints, screenshots of boundary maps with the HOA expansion lines creeping out like a rash, and send it straight to the district attorney. 2 days later, an investigator calls Mr. Carter. If this checks out, we're not talking HOA overreach anymore. We're talking fraud and conspiracy. It checks out, I say, and I've got the video. Things get cinematic. Zoning review hearing. Vanessa shows up in a white blazer, 2 lawyers in tow, looking like they'd melt in sunlight. She won't meet my eyes. I take the stand stick to the timeline, play the audio of her ordering her crew inside, show the footage of the lock being cut, present the complaint from beyond the grave. The room shifts. Her lawyer objects: hearsay, clerical error, whatever. And then out of nowhere, a former HOA board member, let's call him Daniel, stands up. I can't stay quiet anymore, he says. Says Vanessa's been running this whole pressure campaign, emails, voice memos, the works. One recording has her say, "If we apply enough compliance heat, they'll sign just to make it stop." That line is gold. It winds up in every headline in town. The county opens an investigation that day. Fraud, forgery, misuse of funds. Then I get word that a mobile shredding truck is being brought in. No notice, just boxes disappearing. I call Marissa, the investigator. She moves fast. County deputies roll up and catch the shred truck mid-cycle. Boxes, half-chewed ledgers, payment records, all of it. Turns out HOA money's been funneled to a consulting firm owned by, get this, Vanessa's brother-in-law. Now, we're not in neighborhood drama, we're in crime territory. Search warrants follow. They raid Vanessa's so-called administrative office, which is just her pool house, find server racks, Surveillance logs, spreadsheets marked non-compliant parcels notes like resists, authority, apply pressure, Q3. She's built a shadow enforcement operation. 3 days later, Daniel texts me. They got her. Vanessa Pike arrested on trespass, conspiracy, forgery, obstruction. 2 other board members picked up others' lawyer up. The arraignment is something else, no fiery defense, just a blank stare and cuffs. The DA files a civil action for restitution. My own suit moves ahead, malicious trespass, property damage, civil rights violations. The board's insurance won't cover them for willful misconduct. That means personal liability. HOA accounts freeze. Without their Queen Bee members turn on each other. Dues contracts all up in smoke. That power dissolves like it never existed. Months later, verdicts come down. Vanessa gets years. Others settle. Millions in restitution. But here's the quiet part. I didn't feel triumphant. Just relieved. Relieved that the line held that documentation beat intimidation, that when someone tried to rewrite reality with a clipboard, the law still meant something. Last thing I did, installed a new titanium gate lock. Had it engraved private property. Respect the boundary, no one's touched it since. So what's the point of all this? If this was just about revenge, you'd get a quick thrill and then forget it. But that's not what this is. It's about how power expands when nobody's looking and how fast it shrinks when someone finally pushes back. The lesson isn't fight your HOA with Marines. It's not even lawyer up and nuke 'em. It's know what governs you and what doesn't. Most folks never read their deed. They see a polo and a clipboard and assume wrongly that's authority. And that's where trouble starts. In America, authority is jurisdiction, paperwork, boundaries, nothing more. Everything in my case turned on documentation, not anger, not yelling. If I hadn't had that paper trail, this would be just another neighbor spat. And those never end well for the quieter side. But the real warning authority creeps. Little wins become big grabs. Not because folks are evil, but because power feels good. Vanessa didn't start out a villain. She just kept going unchecked until losing control felt like dying. And look, HOAs aren't all bad. Most do the job. But they only work with guardrails, transparency, oversight, elections. Pull those out, you get chaos. So if you're in an HOA, do yourself a favor. Read your docs. Check if your lot's annexed. Show up to meetings. Ask questions. Don't go yelling on Facebook. Just document. Quietly, methodically. Show up with facts and the game changes. And if you're not in an HOA, don't get cocky. Boundaries, zoning, neighbor spats. They all run on the same fuel. Confusion breeds assumption. Assumption breeds escalation. What saved me wasn't muscle. It was clarity about where my land began and ended, about what real authority looks like. The irony, I never wanted a fight. I just wanted my coffee, my generator humming, a quiet porch, my friends arguing, barbecue. But when someone crosses your line, you don't have to rage. You just have to stand up. Stand, but stand smart. Now I want to hear from you. Ever dealt with HOA overreach? Did you roll over or push back? Do you think associations help more than they hurt? Or is the line between order and overreach thinner than we want to admit? Drop your story or your hot take down in the comments. Let's see where everyone draws their line.